While we give her
this?
10 questions that you're going to be
Okay.
answering each for maximum of 10 seconds.
Okay.
We're going to be squatting.
Okay.
So if she has long answers, well, the suffering will prolong. Go to workout, song or
Hit.
playlist. Hit. Okay, there you go.
I try to find areas where we can find people who are more than willing to, how do you say that, contribute
Mhm.
to the growing space of machines.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Build Different, a leadership podcast where we all strive to learn how to build ourselves better through the different stories that we share with you weekly. My name is Jasper Tiongso, your host for this episode. How would saying yes to life look like for you? Well, we'll at least get a picture of it in this episode. For an empowered woman who'll be joining us right here, who has taken a life mission of empowering other women too, because she believes in the power of community. Let's get inspired by how a leader of an all-women fitness and wellness community called the FlexFit Southeast Asia made a movement created by many commonalities and shared goals. Our guest for this episode, let us all welcome, is Lexi Noval. Woo!
What's up, guys?
I know, you can see we have our millions of followers and viewers right now.
I believe that. Okay.
Yes, let's attract it. But Lexi, first of all, given that this is a leadership podcast, our initial question, just to ground it to it being a leadership podcast, is what do you think is, if you're going to allow us to picture you as a leader,
Okay.
how is Lexi Noval as a leader?
I believe that I'm a very compassionate and purpose-driven leader.
Mhm.
I feel like based on how I've been interacting with not just my Flex sisters in the community, but also in the work that I do, I am a very service-driven, compassionate, and structured kind of leader.
Okay. So I love it. The balance of being compassionate, but at the same time, structured, which I think
Right.
really works for the kinds of things that you build. First of all, let's talk about, because maybe on social media, you just could see that she's flexing about FlexFit, and of course, the flex is also workout and whatnot, but then she is also into AI ops. Could you tell us more about that maybe before? I think we'll be able to get a little bit of an idea also of you as a leader in that field and also in the community that you built.
Right. So a little bit about me as an AI ops director. So I work for a company called Scale AI. They're a machine learning company and we specialize in data labeling and annotation. So what I do for them is actually I find pockets of communities that can cater to the building of AI, right? So I try to find areas where we can find people who are more than willing to, how do you say that, contribute to the growing space of machines. Right.
Interesting. Okay, so at least you have sort of kind of a balance of the technology that we have right now, which is definitely evolving, and at the same time, there's people management over there also because you're also talking to a lot of people internationally.
Right.
So I think we'll be seeing more of that also as we go along in this interview. But you've mentioned that 2016 was your yes year. Could you take us through, before the yes year, of course, the years or maybe the days, the months where the no seemed to outweigh the yeses? So what did it look like for you, that era, before the yes era?
Before the yes era, I think was 2016 and all of that before. I think this would be very relevant to a lot of Filipinos where we're placed inside beautiful little boxes. I don't know if it would apply to all, but in my personal experience, I had the most loving family who wanted to, of course, make sure that I was taken care of. And I was placed into this beautiful box of like, you're a little ballerina of creativity. You're the shy one in the family, which I was. I'm very introverted. So I'm second born. placed in between two extroverted siblings, which I guess made the disparity very obvious.
Mhm.
Both my siblings excelled in science,
Ooh.
right? And they're both in the medical fields right now. So as like a child growing up, and then you seeing both your siblings excel in almost anything really, like they were storytelling champions, they were debate champions, and there I was, like every time I would open up my mouth, I'd start to shake. And reasons for that at the time I didn't know why, right? So my family, being the loving, caring parents that they were, they like took care of me. Like it's okay, it's not your forte. You're probably just like the creative. Just focus on your dance,
Mhm.
focus on your painting, and they were very supportive in all of the little things that I wanted to do that was completely separate from my my siblings. So in my head, when you're growing up, I think for a lot of us, like you
Mhm.
believe whatever your parents, your
Right.
grandparents, your teachers would tell you. And then for me, I was placed again in this box of like, you should probably do this because this is where you're better at. So focus on your dance, focus on your painting. So that's
Mhm.
why I was able to get into scholarships
Okay.
for creative. I got into varsity athletic scholarship in UP
Whoa.
for cheerleading, thanks to the power of my very supportive parents in making me hone into what they saw I was
Mhm.
good at. But because of that, I completely drove myself through just the sight of them planning out my life for me because I didn't know what to do otherwise.
Mhm.
I I don't think I was given the chance to think about how I wanted to develop myself. And I think because of that, I was honed in or really focused on just being the person that they saw for me.
Mhm.
But that was out of love, right?
Right.
So I was never really able to expand my horizon.
Mhm.
I just followed what they thought would be best for me.
Right. So I think the pre-yes era for you looked like there were
Fear.
a lot of fear. There were a lot of
Right.
voices also around you, which, as you mentioned, it's really about love. But you weren't given that space for you to think for yourself as to
Yes.
what potential you could even unleash if you're going to be, allowing yourself to
Exactly.
embrace other things outside what you've heard them saying. I mean, but of course, it's out of love also. It's not really so they're not really years of no's, but it's really more of years of a lot of yeses, but a lot of noises as well. A lot of noise as well.
I wouldn't say it's a lot of no's, but I wouldn't say it they're yeses either.
Okay.
I think it would be years of just following someone else's thought of you,
Amazing.
right?
Okay.
And a lot of
Interesting.
fear.
Yeah.
A lot of fear of making mistakes. I think that's something that I also learned from being placed in ballet because
Right.
that's what I grew up
It's
in. I
about
grew up in
perfection.
movement,
Huh?
yeah. So ballet is very disciplined,
Mm.
very perfectionistic, and like little imbalances, little like even your body image is
Mhm.
something that you're gonna have to
Exactly.
think about as you're going through that from 3 years old.
Yeah. Interesting. I mean,
Yeah, all the way up until college, I feel like.
but for sure, I mean, there are a lot of learnings also coming from those years pre yes era that you are well somehow. I mean, it's
Taking along with me as well.
exactly.
Of
So,
course.
but yes, let's now take it along to the
Sure.
yes era. How does it look like for you, and what finally gave you that snap? The hey, I have to go say yes.
Um, I think 2016 was that pivotal year, mainly because this was the year, I believe, if I remember correctly, I was just questioning a lot of things. This was also where the year that I think my grandmother died.
Mm.
And I realized that there was something that was really wrong with me because I wasn't content with anything. It felt like I was just moving along the motions, and there wasn't really a spark that was happening in my life, or I wasn't content, and I definitely realized that I wasn't happy. And then one day I was listening to a podcast, and they talked about that yes year. And I decided, what if I decided as well to say yes to the things that I thought I wasn't capable of? One would be getting out of my comfort zone from dance and speak. Because growing up, it was my older sister and my younger brother who would speak for me. So I asked myself, what if I actually started talking to my parents about trying something else? And because of that, I started dancing more. I all of a sudden started getting commercials. I got sponsored to do an acting class with Star Magic. I started becoming stronger. I joined a fitness community in BGC. I think this was called Suns Out Fitness at the time. And then I became a leader there. And I think that's where everything blew up.
Right.
I all of a sudden said, what if I made my own wellness company? And then everything just opened up. The world opened up. Like it made me feel like I could try anything and then figure things out as I go, which never happened for me. Because in the past, before 2016, everything was guided. You do this and this is going to be the outcome. And now, it made me realize that I can figure things out for myself as I go. So it challenged my conflict resolution skills. It challenged my decision-making skills. But it also led me to more people I thought I would not even meet.
Interesting times. I mean, there is really power into taking accountability, I suppose, of your own life, which I think that happened in 2016 for you. But then you've mentioned about a podcast. I mean, our viewers, our listeners, maybe would be interested. Maybe that will be the same effect. Yeah, that podcast. What's
it's called The Art of Charm.
The Art of Charm. You could find it also on Spotify.
Yes, you
The Art of Charm.
Art
Ladies
of
and gentlemen,
Charm.
we'll listen together. Later on, but let's focus on this podcast first. But of course, we love flexing other podcasts to make sure that you guys get inspired even more. So you've already walked us through sort of I mean, how you were also growing up. You've mentioned about you being compared to your brother,
my brother
and
my
sister,
right?
for sure. And of course, your family out of love. I mean, trying to guide you along the way. But what do you think were your early interests that shaped you as a leader today, I suppose? Because as I've mentioned, probably, I mean, those years pre the Yes era might have been a lot of people guiding you along the way into whatever they think would be fit for you. But then, for sure, you've gotten some wisdom and some light from there too. So what are those early wisdom that you got that somehow contributed into shaping you as a leader today?
I think there are a lot of things that happened in my life that I have taken with me. One thing for sure is the structure and discipline and perfectionism of ballet. I think this is where I really tried to hone in seeing noticing mistakes, correcting them right away, also being able to respond to feedback, making sure that I'm able to implement things right away. This is in my early years, like ballet, perfectionism. For cheerleading, it's teamwork and trust, right? It's support. when you're being thrown up in the air, you're going to have to truly believe that somebody's going to catch you.
Trust.
That's like, I think, the ultimate
Yes.
the ultimate testament that I trust you by allowing this person to throw you in the air. So teamwork and trust. And then on my following years, it's, I think, really endurance and grit, like really going for not stopping, making sure that you're always pushing through all of the obstacles that you see and trusting and believing in yourself that you can overcome those obstacles. I think those are like in the three main areas of my life. Those are the biggest takeaways. But I think what has transformed me the most are in the moments through all of those areas in my life where I felt unseen. And I feel like that's where all of the compassion and the purpose for me comes through. Because in all of those moments, I was just following. I was the follower. I had all of these ideas. I had all of these things that I wanted to do for people, but it never really came into fruition because I didn't believe that I could do it, if that made sense.
A lot of sense for sure.
Right?
So you are trying to like have like an abortion of the thoughts and the belief of yourself along the way, just because you don't believe in this out of fear. But then it seems like leaps and bounds, ladies and gentlemen, for Lexi, because coming from somebody who is introverted into believing in herself and now having others believe in themselves as well. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about how FlexFit Southeast Asia was born. I mean, wow. I mean, this is something big for you for sure, because hey, I'm just taking care of myself. I was trying to believe in myself. Now I'm trying everybody else to believe in themselves too. So how was this born?
Happen?
How did that happen?
Like, okay, so going back to what I said, the moments where I felt unseen. And I think a big chunk of my life, I felt like I was placed in the back burner. But then what made it, I think what happened was I did not feel safe enough, and I did not feel like there was anyone who could be there for me in the moments that I needed that kind of person. And that's why I made it a mission to create that space for that need for myself.
Right.
Because I felt like if I need a space to feel safe, to feel welcome as the person that I am, there has to be also another woman that needs it too.
Right.
And the moment I started talking about that, the moment I started opening up about it, more and more women just started becoming friends and also had that passion to share with me. And that's how I think the community grew.
Amazing. Maybe give us an idea, maybe during the start, maybe the birth pains and whatnot. How did it look like before when you were just beginning this community?
It was fun, actually.
Okay. Good to hear.
So it started with that community that I told you about. It was called Suns Out Fitness. It was this really huge co-ed workout community in DGC that was training towards the Spartan race at the time, right? So if you can imagine how intense that training was. And every time I would see a woman come in for that session, the next week, she wouldn't be there.
She's gone.
She's gone. So I made it a point to always talk to the women who would come in and stick with them throughout the whole workout.
The cheerleader in you.
Yes.
Do this.
To cheer for them, to even give them modifications for the workout. Because luckily, I also have a certification for coaching.
Nice.
So I have a background in creating programs as well. So seeing the women who were struggling, I knew what it felt like, like in the past, 2016, I hired my first personal trainer.
All right.
Because I think at the time I was already kind of gaining weight. I wasn't like at the best shape. I didn't have consistent training because I already graduated from cheerleading. And then my mind was telling me, oh my God, you're fat. And the body dysmorphia in me, you know? And then I met this personal trainer. I guess this is kind of going back to my yes year journey. One of my first yeses was actually signing up for a gym.
Okay.
To the point of like, I was so insecure. This person noticed me. Her name's Rem Buena. She's an amazing coach from Dubai. Rem, if you're watching this, I love you. She saw me at the elevator of this gym, like kind of just looking at the front desk and like trying to figure out whether or not I actually wanted to sign up for the gym or not. And she pulled me, and she was the one who gave me like my first session, and then promised me that she was going to be there for me. And then so I hired her. And then that same year, she signed me up for an ambassador program for that gym. And this is where I first tasted what a community actually felt like. Because the people who signed up for this ambassador program were the most amazing coaches already. They were public speakers, they were motivators, and yet in the competition, we're going against each other for this ambassador like title, but they wanted you to be better. Right. They were giving me all of the tips. They were giving me, they were holding my hand through the Dale Carnegie class because of public speaking. Because I was so terrified. I was crying. The first session, I was crying. And then Cassie Umali, I connected with her like the other day, the other month, I think. She held my hand and she was like, girl, you got this. And then like even during the competition, she and Karen Nabasco stayed in front of the stage and just told me, look at me when you're talking, so that I wouldn't freeze and like fall over the stage or anything. They made a real big effort to make sure that I was successful in that journey. And everyone in that, like, what do you call this, in that batch were so supportive of each other, not just of me. And I felt like this is what I want for women out there. People, someone to hold their hand, somebody to tell them that they can do this, no matter, like, not just for fitness, but also for their career, their other ambitions and hobbies in life. I think that's what everyone needs.
Yeah, I think it's really powerful when you get to dream big because other people around you are also dreaming big.
Right.
So you know that it's something that you should be doing as well because these people, hey, oh my gosh, you have big dreams. Why can't I? Why shouldn't I join?
And not just like telling you to live and dream big, but they're really pushing you to do it. Yeah. Almost forcing you, actually.
Amazing. I'm getting the sense that I know this competition, this ambassador program.
You do?
That's batch one.
Batch one.
Golds.
Yeah.
I was batch 3? 4?
Batch 3?
Batch 3, yeah. So yeah, I mean, that is true. I mean, I now get the sense of what you mean about being pushed because yes, as you may be competing for a title or something. Together, you are also evolving because you get, snippets of how things could be improved just because you could see the dedication also at work from these people around you. And of course, it's just a very, very positive community, which I think you've brought to FlexFit Asia as well. But of course, there are challenges along the way. What were the challenges that you get to face in building this community? I mean, for sure, as you've mentioned, the start was pretty fun for sure because these are people with common interests. You have goals, you have dreams together. But then, of course, let us give our audience an idea. What would be the challenges of building this kinds of community as well?
Right. Okay. So going back to the question, I think growth was slow because there are a lot of women who are very intimidated. And I feel for them, right? A lot of the feedback that we got was, I feel like I need to prepare to be a part of your group,
Mm,
right? And then
right.
that's very hard to break. And I don't know if it's the impression we're giving,
Mm,
but what we would really want to put out there is that you don't need to prepare yourself to be a part of the group. It's us wanting to be there for you for your journey, not you to prepare to be with us, because then that would defeat the purpose of making sure that the space is a comfort zone for everyone. Yeah.
Right, right. Pretty challenging. I mean, it's more of a mindset. It's more of judging maybe your own self if you get to join. But let's break it down. Make it simpler for everybody to get to realize or get to know how to really join the group. So how do you join this sisterhood?
Right.
Hashtag FlexFit Sisters, right?
Right.
So
FlexFit
how do you become a sister?
We put out events every quarter. So we have 2 events every quarter, and we place it on our social media. So all you need to do is sign up on the form so that we know you're coming, and then we can prepare like our little goodie bags for you. That's
Sweet.
basically it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So how strong it is right now? I mean, how many members are there of the community as we speak?
Well, right now we have about 300.
No, it's a lot.
It's quite a lot, and I'm very happy about it. Our biggest milestone was our Empower Her year. So we placed out a hill run.
Ooh.
I think this was last March. And in just a week's time after posting, 300 women signed up for it. Yeah. 300 women signed up, and then in person, there were about 80 to 90 showed up in person. So that was super fun, because then now our group chat is so alive with women trying to get each other to join their workouts in Makati, in BGC, in QC.
Nice.
And that's what we just really want, to bring a network of women to engage with each other and support each other in their lives. Amazing. Hobbies, ambitions, careers.
Let's excite them even further. So you've mentioned about the hill runs. How about other activities that people could expect just in case they're not yet members and they want to be a part of it?
Right. So coming up, we are going to have a workout in June. This is going to be with Speedian. So it's this like really cool mobile workout home gym that you can take at home.
Okay.
We're going to be doing... I've become such a fan of hybrid training. So we're going to be doing hybrid training workout.
What is
there.
hybrid training?
It's multifunctional kind of workout. So you want to be prepared for any kind of race or sport. That's why it's hybrid.
Right.
So if you want to swim, you're going to be prepared for swim.
Okay.
If you want to do the Hyrox race, you'll be prepared for the Hyrox race. And then, of course, running races, marathons. So it's just hybrid training is becoming prepared for anything that
life
a
springboard for everything else. Okay.
So it's a multifunction sport training.
Interesting. Okay. So exciting activities for sure. But then as you craft these activities and be at the forefront of pushing for empowerment for these women, what have you learned about yourself in terms of the leadership skills that you now possess because you have evolved getting into this slew of people and all the things that you get to organize for FlexFit?
Right. I used to think being a leader is being able to know it all and do it all. So I used to be very micromanaging.
Okay.
But now I believe that being a good leader is being able to bring people together to coexist and collaborate. That way you get more things done. That way you can hone people's strengths, and you'll be able to see them flourish in areas where they can actually become the star. And as a leader, I feel like that is the best way to bring people to the limelight. Find their strengths, help them collaborate, and then show them the areas where they can flourish. And then that way you have like a very beautiful, diverse, dynamic team that is empowered to do whatever they want in that, in that industry. Whether it's fitness or in the IT space or wherever.
But that is true, no? Empower others to take on leadership roles as well, because you
Right.
don't know, I mean, you wouldn't know that you have the leadership traits as well if you are not believed by somebody in a certain group. And I think that really puts more power in
Right.
this kind of community that you're building.
Yeah.
So any other tips that you have for other people probably would like to build on other communities? Because syempre, like I won't be able to join FlexFit Sisters because all right, you've shared with us a lot of learnings already into getting into communities and whatnot. But then in terms of building communities, of course we can't join. Like I myself won't be able to
Right.
join FlexFit Sisters. what are
You can be an ally.
ally? Okay, I'll do that. Apart from being an ally, maybe they would want to build their own communities too. Any tips for those trying to build communities as well, coming from your best practices, Aricon?
I think it would be that they focus on the purpose. Like start with the purpose and build for transformation. A lot of people, I think, just create group chats and then start talking with each other, and I think that's where it kind of falls apart. There's no The audience wouldn't be able to envision what the end goal is for them. But if you build with a purpose and transformation, and then lead it with show your heart, and it will attract people who you want to lead life with
Right.
you.
I love that. Everybody's gonna be aligned. I think
Right.
when you have the same why,
Yes.
they're gonna leave you because you're one.
Right.
Ericon.
So I guess build for the people you want to have beside you through life.
Okay, that's right. I mean, I think it's really the key also on eliminating or weeding out whoever shouldn't be a part of the group, I suppose.
Right.
At the
Kind of
onset,
filtering
yeah?
also.
Okay, that makes sense. That's communities for you. It's not mass media. It's for a niche kind of crowd, I suppose. That
Yes.
somehow is on the same wavelength, same vibe as you have. So let's go back to FlexFit Asia, Southeast Asia. So what are your plans? The vision for it? How would be like the dream scenario? How would it look like for you?
For us, I think it would be in the next 2 to 3 years. We'd love to have retreats and
Oh.
then more partnerships with gyms and studios where we'll have more events, more meetups for the girls, and then eventually 5 to 10 year goal.
I love it. Yeah.
Let's say it's in an app. So if you can imagine an app where women can connect with each other based on their physical and career goals,
Right.
with a very aligned program where they can choose their studios or gyms or in-demand video options and even personal coaching based on the program that has their information already in it, then I think that would be the 5 to 10
Amazing.
year goal.
I
But
feel
for
like
now, events would be
yeah,
the way
but
to
I
go.
feel like you're snowballing to that already. I mean, hello to everybody who's listening or watching our podcast. Maybe you like partnerships, diba? So let's make that happen.
Let's do it.
An
You know
ally.
where to find
An
me
ally.
and the ally.
But let's go personal again this time
Okay.
as we wrap up the interview and go into a fun part of the show, ladies and gentlemen. What is the Lexi legacy? I mean, what are the things that you want to leave behind in terms of leadership and community building, or probably generally as a person?
I think general as a person, my legacy would just be, I want to be known as a person who was able to create a space where women can be themselves and say yes to life and pursue whoever they feel like is their best selves. So that's what I would want to leave myself as a legacy.
Delightful. Maybe you could change your name into Lexi Yes Val, not Noval.
Oh yeah, that's a nice one. I like that.
The transformation. Ever evolving. But ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're having fun right now. Now we're going to be pausing for a break for some reminders, and we'll be back with a fun game.
Awesome. Okay.
JCI Manila has been a strong advocate for women's empowerment, launching initiatives like Empower Her, a business event that celebrates women's voices and success stories in leadership and entrepreneurship. They also collaborate with JCI chapter like JCI Manilena, which organize projects such as #Babae Ka, an art and business fair showcasing Filipina talent. Through these programs, JCI Manila continues to support and uplift women in various industries, fostering inclusivity and leadership opportunities. Visit jcimanila.org to know more.
The Built Different podcast would like to thank Henry's Cameras, Power Mac, Hollyland, U Green Philippines, Kappa Cabina, Surge Digital Media, Madcap Productions, Days Media Group, Jazz Up Communications.
Welcome back to Build Different, and right now we're going to be having our segment that we call Different, Different, Same, Same. We have challenges that we throw to our guests every time that somehow would be in terms of being different. We could probably have different, notes on that, but then also we could be the same in some answers. So you probably are going to be having the same things in terms of the mindset of our guests. So right now, since you could see Lexi is flexi, there you go. She is fit. We're going to be challenging her into burning questions. Burning kasi we're going to be burning.
Okay.
Because while we give her
What is this?
10 questions that you're going to be answering each for maximum of 10 seconds,
Okay.
we're going to be squatting.
Okay.
So if she has long answers, well, the suffering will prolong. But I think kaya niya to. Ano? So,
We'll
Lexi,
see.
are you ready?
Don't give up, ha?
It's a challenge not for Lexi, but for me.
Because I can ramble.
Okay, let's see. Ladies
Okay,
and
let's go.
gentlemen, stretch a bit. Let us go with burning questions in squat form. 3, 2, 1. Question number 1, Lexi.
Okay.
One word that defines your leadership style.
Fearless.
What's your go-to strategy for handling pressure?
Calling for a brainstorm session.
There you go.
Okay.
If you could mentor yourself or your younger self, what's the first lesson you'd teach her?
Don't believe what everybody tells you.
What's the most underrated leadership quality for you?
Compassion.
The best piece of advice you ever received?
10 seconds. Wait, say that again.
Best piece of advice that you've ever received?
Start before you're ready.
Okay. A book, a podcast, or a leader that heavily influenced you?
The Art of Charm.
Okay. Your biggest pet peeve?
Late.
What's more important, vision or execution?
Vision.
Go to workout, song or
Hit.
playlist. Hit. Okay, There you go. What's the Lexi Noval mantra for success?
Show up for yourself.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, we're done!
Nice.
Okay, you didn't give up. Okay, good. Pero may moment ako na hindi siya 10 seconds.
But it's okay. I mean, you did fantastic.
Okay.
And of course, Lexi, we've enjoyed the times that we spent with you. Have you enjoyed also?
Oh yes, thank you so much for having me, guys. This was fun.
Okay.
Also, very reflective questions from myself in the moment.
Amazing. Okay, so this somehow enriched not just Lexi, but everybody else joining us, even myself. Now, Lexi, last few words, maybe invite them to join the sisterhood and however else they could follow you and check on the journey and be inspired.
Right. I hope you guys join us. You can follow me, Lexi Noval, on Instagram and on Facebook. We also have FlexFit SEA on Instagram and Facebook. And I'd love to see you there. We post about our events on our social media, so I hope you join and see us there soon.
Be a sister, be an ally, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us right here in Build Different. My name is Jasper Thompson. Of course, we thrive together. That's better, right? Thank you so much and see you in the next episode.
The Built Different podcast would like to thank Henry's Cameras, Power Mac, Hollyland, U Green Philippines, Kappa Cabina, Surge Digital Media, Madcap Productions, Days Media Group, Jazz Up Communications.